So you've got a lot of issues in the Houston organization. And on top of that, they get to decide. Their new general manager, Nick Casario, gets to decide what is Deshaun Watson worth. Now, there's a few trade scenarios that are out there that are floating around that I think are interesting. The first one, it might be the one that's probably leading headlines right now. It's the New York Jets. They've got draft capital for years. They have a boatload of first round picks this year and next year. They have 2 first round picks this year, 2 first round picks next year. They just hired 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh. Many people around the league are saying that that is a home run, knock it out of the park hire, and that he is going to completely revamp the culture there in the Jets organization. And they need that because Adam Gase, you can see throughout his tenure, wherever he's been poor for culture. Ryan Tannehill left the Dolphins, and he went 33-7 this year, 33 touchdowns, 7 picks. So, you know, wherever Adam Gase goes, the place he was previously gets better. And I think the Jets will instantly be better this year just because Adam Gase is gone and Robert Saleh replaces him. But also, they have the ability to add an influx of talent. They have a whole bunch of cap space. I think they have $70 million in cap space. They've got all these draft picks. They have the ability to move and make things happen. This could be a quick rebuild for the Jets. If they hit on 2 of their 4 first-round picks in the next 2 years, they get 2 studs. You could get 2 cornerstone players on maybe it doesn't matter. You get 2 cornerstone players out of those picks. You know, that's got to be you got to think that's worst case scenario. You have to think that of all the picks that Joe Douglas over there has accumulated, that he's going to hit on several of them. And a lot of people are saying that he's capable. He's not playing around. He knows what he wants to do, and he's built up this rebuild through draft capital and free agency. He's going to make the moves. Now, the Jets could trade both their first-round picks this year. They could trade a first-round pick next year. And Sam Darnold, their quarterback this past season, who was horrendous, but many people think he still has a whole lot of potential, and it was just because of coaching. So you could include Sam Darnold, 2 first-round picks this year, a first-round pick next year, and get Deshaun Watson. Now, many people think that Joe Douglas won't pull the trigger on that, and I don't know why you wouldn't, because, you know, the Jets need help at a lot of different places, but Deshaun Watson is 25 years old, and if you just will get a culture around the Jets organization, they'll be at a bare minimum a 5-win team next year. Now, that's not good, but a 5-win team is already better than what Deshaun Watson had in Houston. Now, from what people are saying, Robert Saleh is that guy to give them a culture shift that's going to push them into 2022, and they're going to be in a much better place. That defense pretty much got 2 wins for them at the end of the season, and that was with Adam Gase. So you add Deshaun Watson in there, and you utilize some of that $70 million in cap space. You probably will have to foot the bill for Deshaun Watson, but you can absorb that and still have $30-40 million in cap space on top of that to go sign playmakers for Deshaun Watson. That could be something there. The Jets need probably another linebacker, but they're getting C.J. Mosley, who they signed 2 years ago to a big contract in free agency, and he hasn't even played yet, so you're automatically getting him back on top of Quinnen Williams and Marcus May in the back end. You need another corner, you need a receiver, you need an offensive lineman and a running back, but at least with Deshaun Watson, you know, you're not going to regress. And, you know, having a 25-year-old quarterback who's a stud in his prime, that's worth a whole lot. And it doesn't matter what you trade the Jets of those first-round picks. You're not going to get a player. Like, you're not even going to draft Trevor Lawrence with the number 1 overall pick. You don't even have that pick. So you can't make an argument that you're going to get somebody better in the draft because there's not. Deshaun Watson is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. That is worth anything you can pay for it. And he's in his prime. He's 25 years old. It's not like he's 37. He's not Aaron Rodgers where you're going to get 2 more years out of him. You're going to get 10 to 15 more seasons out of Deshaun Watson. You pay whatever you can. Now, the other team that a lot of people are seeing that could be a potential landing spot for Deshaun Watson is the Miami Dolphins. And they have a rookie quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, who was fine this past season. He was benched a couple times for Ryan Fitzpatrick. He was picked in favor of Ryan Fitzpatrick midseason, and then they benched him a couple times throughout the season. The thing with Tua is nobody knows if he has that it factor. And I think the timeline for the Dolphins got sped up when Justin Herbert turned out to be an absolute stud this season, and Joe Burrow as well was an absolute hit. When you have quarterbacks in your draft class, especially Herbert, who was picked later than Tua Tagovailoa, you got to think that the Dolphins organization feels a little bit of pressure to get quarterback right. And they have draft capital this year like they probably won't have going forward. They've got the number 3 overall pick because the Houston Texans suck so bad, and they've got their pick. So you could trade Tua, that 3rd round pick, and that 18th overall pick, or the 3rd pick and the 18th overall pick that you've got in Miami for Deshaun Watson. And then that could be, is Deshaun Watson worth Tua and 2 firsts? That might be the part where that may not even be enough to get him. Houston may say, we want 3 first-round picks minimum. Maybe they want 4. Jamal Adams and Laramie Tunsil both fetched 2 first-round picks. Jalen Ramsey fetched 2 first-round picks. You got to think Deshaun at least starts at 3. Is Tua worth a first-round pick today? I don't know. I think he might be worth a second, but maybe you could work that one out. And if that goes through, maybe you have to add in another second-round pick. But let's say you do Tua, 2 firsts and a second, and you get Deshaun back. In Houston, you can draft Micah Parsons. You can get Jamar Chase. With those picks, you can get Penei Sewell. You can shore up that offensive line for Tua. Tua would already have Brandon Cooks. And if you re-sign Will Fuller, you'll already have receivers there. You already have David Johnson. You need a linebacker in Houston desperately. You need safety help. You need a corner. You need another pass rusher. But maybe you could get Micah Parsons in there. Maybe you take a pass rusher in the first round. But that could be a win-win for both teams. But again, the Dolphins are on the clock a bit because the Jets could be pressing to get Deshaun Watson, and you don't want to be the team with the 3rd best quarterback in your division in 2022. That's not a recipe for success, and eventually whatever team Deshaun is on would figure it out. He is that good that he will get them to the playoffs. The third team that I think, and I think this one might be the best scenario, is the Patriots. Deshaun Watson would look good in a Patriots uniform. He fits that culture. He's a leader. He doesn't make waves off the field. Even in this whole scenario, he's been remarkably quiet, and he's held his cool throughout this whole scenario with Houston. He would fit amazingly in the Patriots organization. The only problem for the Patriots is if they could trade enough to actually get him. And I think that there's a package that would get Deshaun Watson from the Patriots. I think if they were to trade Jarrett Stidham, their first round 15th pick this year and their first next year, and then their second quarterback, J.C. Jackson, that would get Deshaun Watson. You'd get a number 1 corner. J.C. Jackson had 9 interceptions this past year. 9. He was second in the NFL to Xavier Howard. Okay, and Xavier Howard had one of the better cornerback years I've seen in a long time, including when Stephon Gilmore won Defensive Player of the Year last year. Xavier Howard, I think, had 11 interceptions. Okay, that was crazy. J.C. Jackson had 9. All right, he could be a number 1 corner for you going into next season, and then you could get the 15th pick this year. You could draft a quarterback. You could also get Jarrett Stidham. Heck, if you wanted to, you sign and trade Cam Newton in there. You say, all right, we're shipping Cam off. Maybe that gets it done. So in that case, you do Cam Newton, the 15th pick, first next year, and J.C. Jackson. You get a number one corner, a quarterback who's serviceable, a first-round pick that you don't have, and a first-round pick next year. And that might get it done for Deshaun Watson.